No matter what you were doing, Taurus, where you are, what you planned for the rest of the day, stop, because what I need to tell you can't wait, can't be left for later, can't be ignored. And I know you don't like drama, you don't like exaggeration, you don't like when things sound too intense. But this isn't exaggeration, it's a warning. A warning the universe has been trying to give you for weeks, maybe months, and you've been ignoring it. But it's reached a point where ignoring it is no longer an option. It's not tiredness, it's not stress, it's something deeper. It's as if something inside you knows it's time to pay attention, but your rational mind keeps trying to normalize it, rationalize it, sweep it under the rug. Taurus, there's a reason for this feeling, and today you're going to find out what it is. Look, I'm going to be direct with you because I know that's how you prefer it. No frills. None of that vague spirituality that says nothing. The universe is trying to get you out of a place, out of a situation, out of a pattern, and you're resisting with all your might, because change hurts, because leaving the familiar is scary, because you've built a whole security structure around this thing, whatever it is, and the idea of dismantling it paralyzes you. But here's the brutal truth. This structure is suffocating you, and if you don't leave willingly, you'll be pushed out. Now take a deep breath with me, because what comes next will make sense in a way that will give you chills. Lately, strange things have been happening in your life. Small things that seem insignificant on their own, but when you put them all together, they form a clear pattern. Conversations that always touch on the same subject, numbers you see repeatedly, dreams that leave that heavy feeling when you wake up, old memories resurfacing out of nowhere, people from the past suddenly appearing. And you've been treating all of this as coincidence. But Taurus, there is no such thing as coincidence. There is a message, and you are receiving the same message in 1,000 different ways because you haven't wanted to listen yet. So let me translate for you. The universe is telling you that you're trapped in a situation that has already served its purpose, trapped in a relationship that no longer nourishes anyone, trapped in a job that sucks your soul a little more each day, trapped in a version of yourself that no longer fits. And the reason this is being brought to the surface now with this intensity is because you're reaching a point of no return. Either you change now, or you harden so much in this prison that you won't even remember what it's like to feel free. And I know exactly what you're thinking right now, but I can't just drop everything. There are responsibilities, there are people depending on me, there are bills to pay, there are consequences. And you're right, there's all that. But you know what else there is? There's you dying a little inside each day that you choose security over truth. There's you looking in the mirror and not recognizing who's looking back. There's you living on autopilot, fulfilling obligations, doing what needs to be done, but never feeling like you're truly alive. Now pay attention to this part because it's crucial. The universe isn't asking you to destroy your life. It's not asking you to be irresponsible or reckless. What it's asking for is honesty. Brutal, raw honesty, without masks. Honesty to look at your life and admit what isn't working. Admit what hurts you. Admit what you've tolerated just because you're afraid of what comes next. And from that honesty, start making different choices. Small ones if necessary, but real ones, but your own. And here's something nobody tells you. Change doesn't have to be explosive. You don't have to throw everything away tomorrow, but you need to stop pretending. You need to stop lying to yourself, saying everything is fine when it's not. You need to stop waiting for things to magically improve without you doing anything different, because they won't. Things only change when you change, and you only change when you finally get more tired of the current situation than you are afraid of the unknown. Let me tell you something about this specific moment you're experiencing. You're at what I call a point of conscious choice. It's that rare moment where you have enough clarity to see the truth, enough strength to act, and enough opportunity to change course. But this point doesn't last forever. There's a window, And if you let that window close, you go back to autopilot, you go back to denial, you go back to conformity. And then it becomes much harder to get out. Because you'll create even more justifications, more rationalizations, more reasons to stay where you are. So the universe is calling you now. It's calling you loudly. It's calling you in every possible way. Through external signs, yes. But mainly through this inner discomfort that you can no longer ignore. This emptiness that nothing fills. This restlessness that has no logic. This feeling that you are living someone else's life, not your own. And the more you try to stifle it, the louder the call becomes. Until at some point, if you continue to ignore it, the universe stops calling and simply acts. And when it acts without your conscious participation, things become much more chaotic, much more painful. But something beautiful is happening here too, because this calling, this discomfort, this serious warning that the universe is giving you, it's an act of love. It's the universe saying, you deserve more. You are capable of more. You were born for more than this diminished version of life that you have accepted. And I won't let you forget that. I will continue to nudge you, bother you, destabilize you until you wake up and do something about it. Now, I want you to do something. Close your eyes for a second and go to that place inside, that place you avoid because it hurts too much. That place where the truth you don't want to admit lives. And when you get there, when you finally look at it without looking away, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You'll know exactly what change needs to happen, what conversation needs to be had, what decision needs to be made. You always knew. You just pretended you didn't know because knowing means having to act. And here's the scariest part. When you act, when you finally do what needs to be done, you're going to lose things. You're going to lose the false sense of control. You're going to lose predictability. You're going to lose the approval of some people. You're going to lose the version of yourself that is safe but stifled. And for a while, you'll feel like you've made a huge mistake. You'll want to go back. You'll question everything. But if you hold on during this transition period, on the other side, there's something you can't even imagine yet. There's freedom. There's authenticity. There's a life that truly pulsates. Taurus, you love security. You love stability. You love knowing that the ground is firm beneath your feet, and there's nothing wrong with that. But true security doesn't come from external circumstances that you can control. It comes from knowing that no matter what happens, you can handle it. It comes from trusting yourself enough to know that even if everything falls apart, you rebuild, and even better. And this confidence, you only develop it when you stop avoiding change and start going through it. And there's something else important here. This serious warning from the universe isn't punishment. It's not because you did something wrong. It's not because you're not good enough. It's the opposite. It's because you're too good to continue settling for less than you deserve. It's because there's a gigantic potential within you that's being wasted in a life that diminishes you. It's because the time has come for you to stop making yourself small, to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. You know what's craziest about all this? The people around you probably won't understand. They'll think you're having a crisis. They'll say you're being impulsive, irrational, that you should think things through, and that will make you doubt yourself. Because you, Taurus, value the opinions of others. You don't like to be seen as problematic or complicated. You like to be the stable, reliable, sensible person. But what if being sensible in this case means betraying yourself? What if the most rational thing you can do is listen to that inner voice that's begging for change? Let me give you a different perspective. Imagine you're in a house. It's a familiar, comfortable house. You know every corner, every piece of furniture, every crack in the wall. But this house is on fire. Slowly. It started small, but now the flames are rising. And you're inside, looking around, thinking, but I love this house. I built this house. I can't just leave. And while you're deciding, the fire grows. The universe is at the door screaming, get out now. But you hesitate. because leaving means losing the house, but staying means losing yourself. So what's the deal? Are you going to wait until the roof collapses, or are you going to have the courage to walk through that door even without knowing exactly what's on the other side? Because I guarantee you one thing, on the other side, there is life. There is fresh air. There is possibility. There is everything you need to rebuild, but this time the right way, your way, in a way that honors you instead of diminishing you. Look, I know you're tired. I know you've already given so much of yourself. I know the idea of having to start over, of having to go through more change, of having to face more uncertainty seems unbearable. But what's the alternative? To continue as you are, to pretend for a few more months, years, decades that everything is all right, to wake up 10 years from now and realize you wasted precious time on a life that was never truly yours? That's not rest, Taurus. That's giving up disguised as peace. Now comes the part where I need to give you practical instructions, because I know you need concrete steps, not just pretty words. So here's what you do. First, you admit it. Admit it to yourself, out loud if possible, what truth you've been avoiding. Second, you choose an action, a small but real action that moves you in the direction of that truth. It doesn't have to be the final, definitive action. It could be a conversation, it could be research, it could be a phone call, but something that proves to yourself that you are listening to the call. And third, and this is the most important, you stop waiting to feel certain before acting, because certainty doesn't come before. Certainty comes after. You act, and then certainty forms. You move, and the path appears. You jump, and the net emerges. But while you remain paralyzed, waiting for clearer signs, more solid guarantees, absolute certainties, you are wasting the time you have. And time, Taurus, is the only thing you truly cannot recover. There's a specific energy happening in your life right now. It's as if several doors that were locked are starting to open at the same time. Opportunities are arising, new people are appearing, information is reaching you. And you can look at this in two ways. Either you see it as chaos, as just another problem to deal with, another complication, or you see it as confirmation. As if the universe is saying, look, I'm opening the paths, now you just need to have the courage to walk them. And let me tell you something about courage since we're talking about it. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is being afraid and doing it anyway. It's trembling and taking the step. It's crying and continuing. It's not knowing if it will work, but trying anyway. And you, Taurus, you have more courage than you think, because you've already survived so many things. You've already gone through so many difficulties. You've already gotten up from so many falls. So you know deep down you know that even if it's not easy, you can handle it. But here's the secret. You don't have to bear it all alone. Part of the message the universe is giving you is about asking for help. It's about letting the right people in. It's about stopping carrying everything on your shoulders because you think showing neediness is weakness. It's not. It's human. And when you finally allow yourself to be vulnerable with those who truly matter, you discover that the support was there all along. You just didn't let anyone close enough to see that you needed it. Now, I want to prepare you for something. When you start making changes, when you start listening to that calling and acting accordingly, some people will leave your life, and it will hurt. Because you don't like losing people. You value loyalty, commitment, shared history. But not everyone is destined to be part of every chapter of your life. Some people are in your life for a reason, a season, a lesson. And when you evolve to a new level, not everyone will be able or willing to come along. And that's okay. In fact, it's necessary. Because the space those people leave is the space the right people will occupy. And there's something about this process that's almost magical. When you finally align with your truth, when you stop resisting what the universe is showing you, things start to flow in a way you've never experienced. It doesn't mean it gets easy, but it means it feels right. You feel you're on the right path, even when the path is difficult. You feel you're doing what needs to be done, even when it hurts. And that feeling of alignment, of wholeness, of living according to who you truly are. It's worth more than any false comfort you're giving up. Taurus, look at me now. Listen carefully to this. You're not wasting time. You're not late. You haven't failed by still being in this situation. You are exactly where you need to be to finally make the change that will transform everything. And the fact that you're here listening to this, feeling the discomfort these words are causing, proves that you're ready. Because those who aren't ready don't even bother. Those who aren't ready ignore, distract, divert. But you're here, you're listening, you're feeling, and that means some part of you has already made the decision. Now it's just a matter of the rest of you catching up. And do you know what happens when you finally do what the universe is asking you to do? When you finally cross that threshold of change, you look back and think, why did I wait so long? Why did I resist something that was so clearly for my own good? And the answer is always the same, because you needed to be ready. You needed to reach the limit of your tolerance. You needed to be more tired of known suffering than afraid of the unknown. And you reached that point. It may not feel like readiness. It may feel like despair, like exhaustion, like I can't take it anymore. But it's the same thing. It's the point where you finally choose yourself. Now I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to answer it with complete honesty, even if no one else will hear this answer but you. If you could wake up tomorrow in any reality, without limitations, without fear, without having to justify yourself to anyone, what would your life be like? Where would you be? With whom? Doing what? And when you visualize that life, when you feel what it would be like to wake up in it, pay attention to the feeling. Why this feeling? It's your guiding light. It's what the universe is trying to guide you back to. And every choice you make either brings you closer to it or takes you further away. There is no neutral. You are always going in one direction or another. So the universe's serious warning is this. You're at a crossroads, and you need to choose. You need to choose consciously, not passively, because not choosing is also a choice. Standing still is also a movement backward, and you don't want that. I know you don't want that, because if you did, you wouldn't have gotten this far. You wouldn't have read this far. You wouldn't be feeling this tightness in your chest that these words are causing. There's one last thing I need to tell you, and this might be the most important thing of all. When all this is over, when you look back on this phase and see what you've accomplished, what you've had the courage to do, what you've transformed, you'll understand that this serious warning was a gift. It was the universe loving you enough not to let you fall completely asleep in your own life. It was life shaking you up because you matter too much to be wasted on a half-lived existence. So Taurus, the universe has spoken. You have heard. Now, what do you do with this information? Do you store it in the back of your mind and go back to autopilot? Or do you take a deep breath, feel the fear, acknowledge the truth, and take the first step? Because this moment, this exact moment where you are now, this is the moment of choice. And there is no wrong choice. There is the courageous choice and the safe choice. And you already know which one makes you feel more alive, even if it also scares you more. And when you lie down tonight, when the silence comes and you are alone with your thoughts, you will know if you honored this calling or if you let fear win once again. So tell me, what story do you want to tell yourself when this day is over?